video, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions, also involving integers. So you've added and subtracted fractions before, but you need to remember your integer rules as well. So before we start adding and subtracting fractions, let's talk about finding the common denominator, which involves using your least common multiple. So remember, if we had 8 and 12 and we wanted to find the least common multiple, we would list our multiples of 8, such as 8, 16, 24, 36. List our multiples of 12, 12, 24. Well, right there at 24, I have found a multiple of both 8 and 12 that match. Now, if I were looking for a common denominator using 8 and 12 as my denominator, such as 1 8 and 1 12, I would change it from 1 8, I'd go to 24 in the bottom, 12 make 24 in the bottom. I multiplied 8 times 3 to get 24, so I would also multiply the top times 3. So 1 8 is equal to 3 24ths. 1 12, I multiplied the top bottom by 2, multiply the top times 2. Just reviewing how to convert that, because you're going to need that when you add and subtract. Let's look at another least common multiple. If I have 12 and 18, list my multiples, 12, 24, 36. 18, it would be 18 and then 36. 36 matches. And again, if I have 1/12 and 1/18, and I want to convert them so I could add or subtract with them, I'm doing 12 times 3, which means I would do 1 times 3 to get 3 36. 18, I'm only multiplying times 2. There's 2 more examples of least common multiple in your notes. Please go ahead and do those. Alright, also when you're dealing with fractions, if we're adding or subtracting, we want to take the mixed numbers out to make this easier, especially while we're dealing with integers and you're getting used to this. So no mixed numbers when we're adding or subtracting. So let's remember, to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction, you take this bottom number, or your denominator, multiply it by your top number, or your whole number, excuse me, and add your numerator. So I would do 5 times 4, which gives me 20, plus 3, to get 23 fifths. So remember, denominator times the whole number, add your numerator. Same thing here. Denominator of 3 times whole number of 1 plus 2 gave me 5. There's 2 more examples of those in your notes. Please do those. If you want to look at one more, what if I had 2 and 3 fifths? Take my denominator of 5, multiply it by 2. 5 times 2 gives me 10, plus my numerator of 3, that gives me 13 fifths. That is how you convert from a mixed number to an improper fraction. We can have improper fractions when we add and subtract. We don't want improper fractions when we have our final answer. Okay, so now let's do some actual adding and subtracting. Let's say we want to add 1/2 plus 1/3. Okay, so there are some steps. We want to convert mixed numbers. Well, 1/2 and 1/3, there's not a mixed number, so we don't have to worry about that. 2, we need to find the least common denominator, which means least common multiple. So for 2 and 3, the least common multiple is going to be 6. Okay, so now multiply the numerator by the same thing as the denominator. So to get from 2 to 6, I'm going to multiply 2 times 3 to get 6, which means I need to multiply 1 times 3. So I end up with 3 6. 1/2 is the same as 3 6. Over here, I'm going to multiply 3 times 2 to get 6, which means I'm going to multiply 1 times 2 to get 2. Now I can add or subtract. In this case, I'm going to add. 3 plus 2 gives me 5. I'm going to keep my denominator. I do not add 6 plus 6. Nor would I subtract 6 plus 6. My denominator just carries across. So 3 6 plus 2 6 is going to equal 5 6. My last step is to simplify. 5 6 is as low as it will go. I know that because they are 1 apart. It's not an improper fraction. There's no way to simplify those, so this is my final answer. Okay, let's do some more examples. 4 and 3 fifths plus 2 1/2. Okay, thinking back to my steps, first one was convert mixed numbers. Well, here I have 2 mixed numbers. So the first thing I want to do is convert them. So 4 and 3 fifths, 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3, I'm going to have 23 fifths. Remember, multiply 5 times 4 to get 20 plus 3. Then I'm going to do 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1. I'm going to have 5 halves. Okay? I do not have a common denominator, so I must find one. 5 and 2, my least common multiple will be 10. So I'm going to multiply 5 times 2. 23 times 2 is going to be 46. I'm going to multiply 2 times 5. 5 times 5 is going to be 25. Okay, so 46 plus 25. 6 plus 5 gives me 11. Carry the 1. 71 over 10. Now I need to simplify. I have a big improper fraction, so I know my answer is going to come out to be a mixed number. So 10 goes into 71 7 times with 1/10 left over. If you need to see that long ways, we could always do this. 7 minus 70, bring down your 1, and you can just write it as a fraction. For those of you who don't believe me. All right, let's look at the next one. I'm switching to subtraction here. 1/2 minus 1/3. Okay, no mixed numbers, so I don't need to convert that. I do need to find a common denominator though. Okay, once again, I can use 6. This is the same problem I had at the beginning. So I'm going to multiply this times 3, this times 3, and get 3/6. Multiply this times 2, and this times 2, and get 2/6. This time I'm going to do 3 minus 2, I'm going to get 1/6. I cannot simplify this at all because 1 is as small as it will go. So that is my final answer. All right, one more problem. 3/13 is as small as it will go. Well, not as small as it will go, but it's not a mixed number. But over here, I do have 1. So 10 times 3 is 30. Plus 7, so it's going to be 37/10. So I'm going to have 3/13 minus 37/10. Now, I also have to find a common denominator. Common denominator of 13 and 10 may not be so fun. So 13, my multiples would be 13, 26, 39, 52. No, there's got to be another one. 49, yep, 52. Plus 10 is 62. Well, I'll tell you what, I know that 130 is a multiple. There may be one beforehand, but I know that 130 is because that's what you get when you multiply them by each other. 80, 90, and I cannot think of anything in between that it might be. So we'll do it times that. So this will be times 10. This will be times 10. So I'm going to get 30 over 130. Ooh, this is going to be ugly. And I'm going to get minus 37 times 13, because this both have to be times 13. 3 times 7 gives me 21. Carry the 2. 37. 481. All right, so now I have 30 over 130 minus 481 over 130. So we're going to subtract that. Now, we can use our integer rules. Same, switch, change. So we have 30 over 130 plus negative 481 over 130. We know that different signs subtract, keep the sign of a larger number, then you'll be exact. So we can actually end up with 400, negative 451 over 130. Major improper fraction. So to find out, let's see, 130 goes into 451, 2, at least twice, maybe more than that. I bet it's 3. Should have left this one for you guys to do on your own. And 61 over 130. All right, so your final answer is negative 3 and 61 over 130. That was an ugly one. There are a few more examples in your notes. Please complete those for class tomorrow.